Hello and welcome. Now last time I did a hi-fi and audio setup, and today I'm going to do a retro computing setup. Especially since my room has had a complete turnaround and redecoration, I thought, why not just share the experience with you, or at least some of the experience. Don't forget to check out PCBWay if you're looking for custom PCBWay circuit building. I checked out their PCBs and found them to be of excellent quality, and I'm indeed considering them for a future project sometime. And judging by just how surprisingly fast the goodie bugs with their PCBs got to me, I know they have a fast service. Now we start with the Amiga 1200 cozy in that alcove there, the little corner, and that's there because it's the main retro computer which I use. I use it for music and all sorts. Now after that come the rest. So let's set them up. Now the first thing is the CD32. Now this still needs recapping and a little bit of restoration, but for now I'll put it on the second shelf. Now the second system is the beautiful Mega Drive 1 along with the Mega CD 1, which a couple of my friends kindly surprised me with for my birthday. Now come the PlayStations. The PlayStation 1, which I had from back then and still have now, and my gorgeous aqua blue PlayStation 2. So before we put any systems into place, I wish to share the excitement that I've just managed to save up and get myself an OSSC Upscaler. And I'm really looking forward to this because I've heard a lot of good things about this from a couple of friends who have bought it actually. So yeah, definitely need to explore this more in another video. Now the only downside about this is that there is no S-Video support. I think that's such a downside because I've got quite a few things that support S-Video. The Commodore 64, the Atari 800, the the Amiga CD32. They all run on, and you got to think twice about doing S-Video mods on things like the Atari 2600 and stuff like this. Because there's no support for this. Now all this time, if you've known me for a while, you know that I've been using this Flylink Upscaler. And yeah, it's good for the price. It's probably the best out there for the price it is. It's very cheap. However, you don't have any control over, the screen aspect ratio. So, you can end up getting widescreen and everything. However, it does, support S-Video, which is why I'm semi-tempted to keep hold of it just in case I need to kind of record S-Video or capture S-Video, an S-Video source. But yeah, I'm not fond of it because in some of my videos you've probably noticed this horizontal band of noise that keeps slowly scrolling up and down. That is because of this. It's not the best, and it does have a little bit of lag. I mean, yeah, it's playable. Whatever you're playing, it's playable and all that stuff, but it will have a little bit of lag. But I'm looking forward to this. I know it's going to be leaps better than this, but I just wish it had S-Video. I'm going to have to do something about that or find a way, then I'll be happy. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to put this overlay on, which, I thought, if I'm going to go with it, let's just go with everything. The power supply, remote control, overlay, everything. Okay, so let's start with the HDMI side of things. Now here I have a HDMI matrix with 4 inputs and 2 outputs. And this is powered. I need to find the adapter over there for it. Anyway, HDMI matrix is kind of like the SCART, similar to the SCART matrix. It has 2 outputs to go to 2 monitors, and the rest are inputs. And you can like switch between each one. It's completely manual, which I love. This was so, as I said in an earlier video, the SCART matrix here was so difficult to kind of to find. I actually needed something with 2 outputs. Now, unfortunately, things like Hydra SCART, you know, which I would have gone for, it just didn't have 2 outputs. Otherwise, it's fine. And other SCART, you know, matrix or SCART switchers, they only had 1 output. I needed 2, you know, so that's the only reason why, you know, I chased after this one, which is literally perfect for what I need. Now here, on this side, you have monitor 1, which is over there. Right at the other end of that room. So, HDMI out goes to, actually, let's call it monitor 2. So monitor 2 all the way down there, monitor 1 all the way here, which is this. This is monitor 1. Just about reaching. Okay, here we go. So now the inputs. Now this is my main computer which I edit with. Now I can use this on either one of the monitors, depending on the switch, or even both monitors at the same time, if I wanted to. So let's let that be HDMI 1. Now the upscaler will be HDMI 2. That's fantastic. Now we got 2 HDMIs free. I do use that for other things, but let's leave them for now. Now the upscaler here, the OSSC, that goes to HDMI 2. Now basically with a matrix, what you can do here is either one of the inputs. You can choose on either one of the, you know, so you could choose the computer to be on monitor 1 and the upscaler to be on monitor 2, vice versa. Or you could choose the computer to be on both, upscaler to be on both, you know, you're literally free to do whatever you want. Right. Now then, so we've got the upscaler there. Upscaler's here. Now then, from the upscaler, we have working backwards here, sort of. Because I'm trying to insert the freaking SCART backwards. Right. So, upscaler, signal going into the upscaler. This is the signal coming from the retro computers. Now this will be on monitor output. Okay, so let's call output 1 the upscaler. And output 2 will be going to the BVM. So you see what I mean? I needed... Now this does exactly the same as the HDMI, except for SCART. You know, any of these inputs, Amiga, Commodore 64, Atari, you know, whatever else. You can choose any of them to go through any of these outputs, these output monitors. You know, or you can choose both the same, switch around, whatever you want to do. You know, literally you're free, completely free to do whatever configuration you want to do. So just recapping that again. Signal goes into here. Let's say the Amiga is connected to number 1. Number 1, I choose for it to go into the upscaler here, which goes into the HDMI. You can go into either monitor, and you know, so forth. So that's you to HDMI. It's upscaled, and or make it appear on the BVM. Switch it output to as well. Make it appear on the BVM as well. You can be on all the screens. So yeah, the CRT. So it's like full control. Now then, because I have so many freaking systems, what I'm going to need to do is daisy chain a SCART switcher to input 6. So input 6 will be more inputs. Yeah, it's a bit crazy. There's 5 inputs there, and we have 5 more, so 10 inputs total. And I've almost filled them up. Crazy, I know. Alright. So, we have a SCART matrix with 10 inputs now. So, So basically there, I've just shown you the basis of, you know, thingy, and also the audio. The audio out is going to come from the OSSC into this, one of these. So at least we'll have audio going through the hi-fi setup, and, you know, so we can record that as well. Now then, the fun and fiddly part here, behind the BVM, you need the breakout cable for SCART to BNCs. Now just as the colors indicate, RGB, so green in, blue in, red in, and the rest are, you know, throughputs, so you can, you know, connect another monitor if you wanted to. And then you have sync. You need to connect the sync, which you'll get no picture. And that's the audio. This monitor does not have an audio, so I'll just leave that. Now then, from the SCART matrix, we have here. Now then, that would suggest that we're done, but we're not, because the computer systems or the consoles or whatever you've connected that have composite out or S-video out will not work, because all you've connected is the RGB. Now this is the annoying part of this, is that I have to use this horrible breakout, you know, adapter. So what I'm gonna have to do, and I wish they did better quality of, you know, breakout adapters. I couldn't find any. If I do, I'm gonna freaking pounce on it. So, breakout cable, the RGB is going straight through, but you have, you know, the composite coming out, you have the video coming out, you have the audio coming out, which you could just ignore. So then, we have S-video out here, so we need to connect the S-video out from here into the S-video input there. Yep, that's the S-video sorted. Next, we just have the composite. So composite here, out from here, which goes to composite here. However, RCA doesn't fit, so we need an RCA to BNC adapter. Okay, so we have composite in here. Except we got a frickin' rat's nest here. But unless there's a better way, there's a better breakout cable. Better one of these. You know, the power cable save us from going back here again, because I don't want to drag this out again. And that's the BVM side of it sorted. If you want to watch more about the BVM, by the way, I've got some interesting videos about it when I first got it and I was exploring it. I've linked everything in the description below, and there's a playlist of all this stuff, so yeah, I've linked it all there. Okay, so plugging everything in, on SCART 1 we have the Amiga 1200, SCART 2 we have the input 2, sorry, we have Commodore 64, SCART 3 we have the CD32, SCART 4 we have the Amiga 600, the Vampire Amiga. That also needs a HDMI. Hopefully by now, I need to update that actually. Hopefully by now that they have, you know, put the RGB through the HDMI as well. If not, that's there. And finally, on this matrix here, SCART 5 is going to be the Mega Drive. So I can switch between all of them. Now SCART 6 goes to this band ridge here, so I've daisy chained it. It's got 5 more inputs, actually, hold on. I need this one, AV1, yeah, so still 5. AV1 is gonna have to be only one thing, and that's the Atari 800. Because the Atari 800 has, you know, S-video plus, you know, the other cables. So S-video here, and the audio cables. AV2 is the Spectrum, and the rest of them I'm going to connect later on, because I need to do some work on them. The PlayStations, yeah, I'll do them later on, because I need to find the leads for them actually. So this is basically how I'm connecting all of them. You know, they're going here, and then they're going into the Upscaler as well as the BVM, so, you know, alongside one another. So I can play while recording, you know, nostalgia time and so forth. So yeah, a lot of goofing around with cables here. What's that? It's like a big fly being freed from your stomach. So it's summer and I'm absolutely loving it. You'll have noticed that the setup has changed a bit, and you know, the one which I did before was like a couple of months ago, yeah, quite a few months ago. So I decided to kind of do a little bit of an update towards the end of the video. And yeah, I've been sitting on this retro setup for a while because I just still felt that it's not entirely complete. I'm going to show only when it's complete. Something a little new about the hi-fi setup also now is that the turntable was there, now it's there. Which leaves this for more computers. Well, at least some more space to like organize everything there. So yeah, things are much neater now. Now I do have lots of other systems which I still need to add to this, but I'm not going to tell you what they are right now because, you know, I still want to keep them a bit of a surprise. Once I speak about them, I will be adding them and updating you on everything. So, yeah, it's kind of weird because I did not expect to have this many systems. Actually, I didn't plan to be a collector of systems. It just sort of happened. I mean, you could tell most of it's Amiga. But, you know, the other systems which I've always been curious about, you know, it's sort of, yeah, it ended up here. Like, I've always wanted a Commodore 64 but never had one. I was curious about the Atari 800. Again, the sound chips won me over with this. Actually, it's hard to kind of like put them in order, but I do love Paula first because, you know, a special place in my heart. My music writing was started off thanks to this dude here. You know, I love that. I love Paula, and I've got an emotional attachment to the Amiga computer. It's my favorite. The one which I wanted in the past, well, I didn't get, but I played at a friend's house, was the Commodore 64. Now, the Atari 800 is more of a recent curiosity, and I have to say I do love it. It's a shame the Atari 800 didn't get more popular. It's a really capable system, but, you know, people are doing things for it now, which is amazing. So I want to be a little part of that. You know, I'm actually really happy with the setup which I have now. I cannot see myself getting any more, you know, new systems. So it's, I mean, I say that, yeah, but I end up getting a new system. That's just kind of like the way, I must stop saying it then. But it's sort of, I don't know, I'm really happy with what I have. I'm content. I'm not this type of person who sort of collects like loads of systems just to say, oh look, I've got, I don't know, 60, 70, 90, 100 systems. You know, I'm not into this. Like, the more systems I have, the more value there is of me. You know, it doesn't make a difference to me. But it's about, you know, what touches the heart. That's the value I hold. And for me, the Amiga holds a lot in my heart. So do some of these systems, but the Amiga mostly, because I do so much creativity on here. I mean, I've been designing. I didn't expect to do this, but I just upped and thought, okay, I'll design the SidBox 5 graphic user interface on Deluxe Paint, and it's going to be the used. And I'm like, this is so cool. I get to kind of carry the Amiga spirit into something new, which is, I love this. And I do it with my music all the time. I write music, and it's the Amiga spirit, isn't it? So yeah, that's what does it for me. See, as I said, I'm not into this, oh look, I got more systems than you, or you got more games than me. I really couldn't care less. That's not where I hold my value. Where I hold my value is in my heart, and that's all that matters. And I don't think anything can match that. I'd say now that I got the PC Engine working with my BVM, it wasn't working before. If you haven't watched that, I recommend seeing the video. The last video which I did, I'll link it up in the letter I over here. And yeah, I've been using it so much more and enjoying it so much more and exploring it more, because it's a new system to me. As in, I never had it back in the day. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. So it's part of the setup now permanently. I actually wish to get as many systems as part of this setup as I can, eventually, just so I can, switch over and just turn it on and play, just enjoy each one whenever the time comes. And it makes nostalgia time much easier. I can do nostalgia time on PC Engine, or eventually on Mega Drive, and even on Atari 800, stuff like this, nostalgia time. I want to start doing it again. I know I haven't done it for a long time, but things have just been tough, things have been busy, things have been hectic. I've been doing too much on my plate, so I think nostalgia time kind of suffered with that. I'm feeling nostalgic for nostalgia time. So yeah, that happens too. Now the thing with me and games is that I'm extremely picky about them. I'm not the type to kind of collect rooms and rooms worth of games, each wall covered, collecting libraries for every single system. I do not see any value of doing this. Personally, it's my opinion. And, for me, every game that I actually buy a physical copy of has to have meant something to me, or have some sort of significance about it on the system, or in my memory, or nostalgia, or something like this. Even if I had all the money in the world and all the space in the world, I still would not collect libraries worth of games. I just don't see any point. I'll collect all my favorites. That's one thing I would do. And I mean, CD32 games these days are, ridiculously priced. And PlayStation games are going that way as well. I mean, the CD32 games, there are specific ones which I liked, except for Microcosm. I've never played that before, actually. That's Wayne's. Now, the other type of game I would buy are games that are very distinctive to the system, like games that look really nice to me, that appeal to me, or have some sort of, really have some sort of appeal. I was going to say the same thing in two different ways. I mean, I don't want to say popularity, because it's not really about popularity of the game. Some games are really nice, but not as popular as they should be. And there are other games that are very significant on the system, which I wouldn't mind having, so, obviously I get physical copies of those. I tend to buy physical copies of games that are really good and really stand out on the system. And I have something, that really special something about them. It's not always the case that the most popular kid in the playground, or the loudest, or the one that has the fanciest toys and many friends, is the most interesting. No. I find more often than not, the most interesting kid tends to be the quiet one, the humble and the shy one, the one who has the most hidden gems and treasures. That's the kid that's the most interesting. The kid who is seen as an oddity to the ones who do not know. I would like to say a big thank you to all my patrons for all their support, especially to my top tier patrons: Electronscape, Axel Dominator, Rich Garboot, Camel Tech, Stephen Leary, and Chris Sabalensky. Your support makes a huge difference and means a lot.